Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Wednesday, April 6th, 2022. The market did follow through on yesterday's analysis. I had presented basically three views of possible what the NASDAQ could do. And two of them were really in line with how the market was trading yesterday and would include the follow through that we got today. So I'm going to update those. The other remains out there. The third option remains out there. But right now, I'm going to focus on the two that making more sense to what the market is doing. We did get that downside follow through today. So the NASDAQ has now come down, put in that new low below 14,725, I believe this was 33, somewhere in there, and then continued to go. And so we can count this a little bit differently, but not too much. I mean, this was yesterday. We looked for this little. It didn't actually give too much of an additional bounce, but I am going to consider that this was a 1, this was probably a 2, and then we get that larger third, which is kind of like 1, 2, 3. Actually, 3 comes down to here, and then a 4, and then a 5, and that happened before it shot up. So, and a 5. So we literally looks like we may have done 1 of C, 2 of C, 3 of C, and likely are sitting up here in 4 of C. And now we're still looking for some downside. Now, the other side of the coin, we got dang close to 14,380, which came within 14 points of getting there. And that was after breaking several layers. It tried to get itself back above the 50, did not work. It came back, so it broke below, it would have been 813, 769, 720, 14,652 did kind of come down a touch, came up a little bit, but then it broke it. And if you remember what I said, that if it started to break below that, we might see some acceleration, and we did. And it came all the way down, and then it broke below these next levels at 14,524 and 14,443 or 444. Bottomed at 394 and then shot up. Now, that was a decent rally. And then we got a follow through that went up but came back down. And that's where, if this would have remained higher, it would have been a really kind of nice liftoff for having this larger B wave, right? Remember, this is the A wave is up here. This is an A, a B. We're looking for the C to put the B down here, which would then suggest we're going to do the C wave up, break above 15,268 to finish intermediate wave 2. And I'll shift out back to that daily in just a second. But I wanted to go through all of this and then get rid of these because they tend to get in the way. So again, for tomorrow, the market appears to still need additional downside. So one more day that I really need to just allow, because the two scenarios are really playing out side by side, both doing very much what the marker would be. In other words, what the wave count is. It is doing what a C wave does. So either a C wave down, which can go neck and neck, point for point, tick for tick with a third wave. Now, the difference being that in the context of where this third wave would be coming from and what its estimations would be, I'm going to be looking for it to keep on going beyond these levels. So in other words, if I'm looking at, and I'll quickly go to the daily so I can better show it, that if I'm looking for, come on, thank you, where I'm looking for the NASDAQ to, well, here we are. This is the daily, 5 of the 5 of the 5, All that's still good. Intermediate 1, still good. This is all part of intermediate wave 2, wave A of intermediate wave 2, possibly wave B of intermediate wave 2. That would expect a C wave to come back up, likely get above 16,000, and then finish intermediate wave 2 and then collapse as that intermediate third wave takes over. Well, we're into that, what people are starting to feel like, this is feeling pretty collapsy to me. So I run not neck by neck, but side by side, as if this is still intermediate wave 2, but this completed intermediate wave, intermediate wave 1, this completed intermediate wave 2, and we are now dropping in the intermediate third wave. Now, back down to that hourly chart. If that's the case, I'm looking for this to go and just to keep on going. Where if we're in this A, B, and now we're going to come down in the C wave's doing very well. In fact, as I just said, are counted together, we can count 3 waves down to there. This is a wave 4, possibly. And even of C, and if that's the case, well, then we're looking for it to come down, at least give a test of 14,380, if not drop below. So then we have 14,315 and 14,268. Now, ultimately, this is actually the first layer of where we got double up. Because remember, out here is the larger move. So the whole B wave. And then here is just the C wave portion of this B wave. So we came down pretty close to 382 today for that larger minor B wave. Then our next up would not be here, although those could work for the same purpose. But it would be the next up is the 50% for the larger minor B wave, and that's 14,100. It fits, and I feel interestingly strong that that's where it's going to go. So I would be expecting additional downside. If anything, to finish either this C wave, and that could be down to here, even as low as that. But what it may also then be finishing is a wave 1 of 3. So in other words, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, no, 1 of 3 of 3. I would be expecting this third wave to be such a large monster. It's not the whole third. It could be a C wave in the third. Now here's the catch. If we get down here and see again, we got down close to 380, we rallied pretty strongly. They lifted off right off that area. That I thought, oh, okay. It's the end of the C wave. Now we're gonna start. And we're gonna finish up off those lows at a decent level that it would be more convincing. Well, that didn't happen, although the liftoff was pretty good. Right now, the market is just basically hanging on to a very slight rally, a very slight up. There's only a five points here in the NASDAQ, 70 cents in the Russell. S&P is actually down, and so is the Dow, not by a lot. So they're basically kind of sticking around where their closings were. Now, so again, for tomorrow, I would expect we're going to get some additional downside. Either, number one, we need to complete this C wave. So I'm still looking for somewhere in here. Ultimately, though, here. If indeed that then completes this 5 waves down for wave C, come on, computer, 5 waves down for wave C, then we get that nice liftoff rally. And I would like to see it come back very quickly above 380. I start getting into the previous days areas. So that's where I'm going to leave that. But if we get down to 14,100, it rallies just a tad and then turns and keeps dropping. That's going to put more support to this completing intermediate wave 2. And this is 1 of 3. 2 of 3, 1 of 3 of 3, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're headed below. And then we've got a lot more. Now I'm going to go back out to that daily, switch things around a little bit. But first, before I do that, if, again, option A, so the first scenario is pretty important because that's the one that's still, it's the first one that I presented and it continues to have merit. I want to go to the daily, excuse me. And that would be that we are looking for, oh, come on. This game, this little mouse plays. Come on. My computer plays this game, but will not allow me to pull open. See? Not going to allow. Come on. Nope. All right. Anyway, if it is the completion point all the way down to here of the wave B, the minor wave B, and we rally, the expectation would be for the market to go and finish a C wave higher, not getting above 16,768. So we'll measure that out should it occur. Outside of that, and I'm going to get rid of those for right now. Delete that one for right now. If we are looking as if this is the completion point for intermediate wave 2, then we can take some estimates on where intermediate wave 3 would be expected to go. So again, the relationship is intermediate wave 3 to intermediate wave 1. Now, longest and the strongest, all of this, just a small little stop in the pop. But wave 3, 11,443 minimum, because that's where wave 3 would be equal to wave 1. I'm looking for more. 9,069. I'm going to talk, a lot of talk about crashes, a lot of talk about a lot of things. But this all still fits very cleanly into my bigger picture. If we were to get down here, we'd have a sweet fourth wave rally and then a fifth wave down. And then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 primary wave A. And somewhere, I bet you we'd be closer to the March 2020 lows. That's exactly in line with what my expectations are for this larger corrective phase that's in force. That the first leg down, the A wave, is going to complete somewhere around the March 2020 lows. I'm looking for that to happen on a primary to a cycle degree. So we still got a ways to go, but I just wanted to show you if this is 1 and this is 2, if. So we get this third wave and it just keeps kicking ass and takes us down, then this is going to end up being intermediate wave 2, the completion point up here, and we're done. And we're now cooking and we're going much lower. Much has to sink in. And if you remember, I did leave it open and I am continuing to leave it open that this is minor wave A of intermediate 2, A, B, C for minor wave B of intermediate wave 2, and then boom, a minor C wave up to complete intermediate wave 2. I'm going to leave it right here. Continue to walk and walk with your moving averages and allow them to guide you. Here we are in the hourly. 50 came down, broke below the 200. So now we're lined up. We are lined up on an hourly chart to go down. There's the 200, the 50, the 20, the 8, the 4, all in alignment. Let's go up to the daily, because the daily did its job today and holding back any rally, because unfortunately, the 200 is still as flat as a pancake. So this the daily chart and the moving averages are still a mixed bag. The 20's just now sitting on top of the 50. It needs to kind of turn and get below it. The 8 and the 4 need to zip down and get below the 50. The 200 needs to start turning lower. Right now, it's not. Right now, it's flat as can be. So it's resistance on the way back up. And the 50 kind of, but we're below it, kind of can be support, but it's not. It will also be resistance on the way back up. So we'll see. That's our scenario. That's what we're looking at. And tomorrow, I don't think we have anything major. There's no major numbers coming out. But, you know, it's how they all want to chew and go on the actual words, the transcript from the past Fed meeting, which I find very interesting when that came out today, that they tried to buy it. They tried to buy it. They kept, everybody kept pushing that buy button. And I thought, you know, we've seen this playbook before. I'm not sure why, but it didn't work. And in fact, after they were done trying to push it, they took it to session lows before we did get our decent rally off of those lows. Now, the daily chart, stochastic momentum, getting a little bit down there, almost starting to get into oversold territory, not quite there, but it might be bottoming. And that would fit with AB and then the C wave. Doesn't mean it can't stay oversold if this third continues to kick in. We're going to see. Next update will be Thursday, January the 7th. January the 7th. How about that? Thursday, April the 7th.